Welcome to Southsea Matters. My name is John Sands, and today on Southsea Matters we have Steve Baker. Now, Steve Baker is involved in the Southsea Green and the Harbour School project as well. So that's Southsea Green and also the Harbour School. So Steve, welcome to Southsea Matters.
Thank you, John. It's nice to be here.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, and you can't see it here, but we're in the garden at the moment, and it's brilliant. And we're now in March. We've got frog spawn in the ponds. Slowly, things are starting to come alive, which is fantastic. So, for those people who don't know what the Southsea Green project is all about, give us a bit more detail.
So, Southsea Green is a community garden. We're all volunteers here, and it's been going now over a decade. Established, it was a much smaller thing, as many of these things do. Started out kind of on the seafront, and so great volunteers that sort of established it. And now we're here, and its location is just off Canoe Lake. So a lot of people may not know that the garden is here.
Yeah, it is hidden away a bit, isn't it? But if you go past the canoe as if you're going into where the tennis is, you'll find it on the left-hand side there.
Yes, once you know it's here, you'll know it's here. And
yes.
I think one of the things I love about that is it actually feels a little bit like a secret garden.
Yes, it does.
Even though this is, quite an open space around Canoe Lake, it is an urban sort of space as well. But once you come into the garden, it really does feel quite. I mean, we've got birds all around us. You can hear them here, and it really feels like you're out in the countryside, even though you're really not. So, and obviously, there's lots of benefits to gardening and being in a garden. I think there's the garden itself is here for many reasons. One is that we have beds that the community can help us with, or join and come along and help us with. But we also have, you can just come along and enjoy the garden. And we do events here. We have open days here, and do talks here. So there's a remit of different volunteers for different reasons, different events, and everybody's sort of welcome to get involved.
Yeah, and one of those things is the Harbour School project. Explain a little bit about that, please.
So I've been the chair here at the garden for probably about 9 months now, and one of the things that we're doing is sort of re-establishing the garden as a real community hub. In the time that it's existed, it really has been a beacon to lots of amazing volunteers, and it's really, really big impact on the community. And so since I've joined the garden and working with the current committee, the Harbour project is something that I feel quite passionate about in terms of being a Pompey boy and trying to sort of do best with the least resources. So Harbour School, if for those that don't know, is a school that's got 4 sites across broadly the north of the city, and it's for children that have basically additional needs, and they may well have antisocial behaviour as well. And so we've partnered with them, but we were able to get a fund from the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Community Foundation, which was supported by an organisation called Money Barn. And so for those of you that write bids, put bids together, we had to be quite creative on how we would attach the theme of money to a garden.
Because you can't live on air alone, can you? The air is beautiful. We've got a beautiful sunny day. But you do need funds, and that involves writing bids, etc.
It is. I mean, I think, when you look at a garden, to use a metaphor, the resources to grow the garden are all in the ground, and the way that it's tended, those people are bringing things. But I think as an entity, one of those resources is sadly, in some respects, some might say, is money. So I think, for it to grow its impact in the community, I think one of the things that we're trying to do is use the money that's available out there to double its impact, triple its impact, and
increase its remit or whatever, just so other people can hear about it.
Absolutely. So with the Harbour project, Harbour is, I believe, unless some will believe, one of the most. It's one of the schools in the city that's going to need most support because they've got the children with the greatest need. Hence why we chose Harbour to partner with. And that project is volunteers from the garden, so that includes Goff, who's our head gardener, but also
Yeah,
partnering.
big shout out to Goff. He does a lot of work here, doesn't he?
He's amazing. I mean, not just the projects we run, but he's the head gardener at the garden. So anything that you see here, Goff has really been a major part of all of that growth. And he does so much. I mean, just this week, another school bringing 30 kids down to the garden to enjoy the space, which they may not do. I think that it's easy to assume.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
That young people do get access to spaces like this, but that's not always the case.
So running something like this involves these things, hands, doesn't it? It involves people, getting their hands dirty, getting involved and doing stuff. So money's great, but you need people to do that.
You do.
So how can people get involved?
So we have open days, and at the moment I believe it's the second Saturday of the month.
Okay.
And so come along on a Saturday to find out what we do here. And there's different ways you can get involved.
Yeah.
If you're kind of a gardener or a keen gardener, you get involved with the planting on the beds and get involved in that way. Come along, join the gardening side. But on the other side, if you want to get involved in the kind of the project side, and you're an organisation in the community that wants to engage with an open space, one of the phrases I've been using since I started is that we need to get the gates of the garden open.
Yes,
and
course,
so and one of the things about collaborations is I've found that everyone always wants their sort of piece of what happens.
Yeah.
And so what we're always trying to do is make that free, especially to the beneficiary, but actually free to the collaborator as well. So there is no barrier to collaboration, which is one of the things that I think we are trying to push more and more in our own collaborations, not just when the stuff I do with the garden, but more
everything.
broadly.
So what about the donation of tools and fertiliser and compost and that kind of thing? Do you need that?
Well, yes. So one of the projects that Jenny is one of our amazing volunteers is running at the moment is the refurbishment of our shed,
yes. No one can
which
see. Marvellous
is
shed,
is wonderful at the moment, but is in need of some repair. Also, there's the garden itself. So the beds themselves, you can see they need materials, the wood, etc.
They don't last always, do they? I know that being a gardener myself. Raised beds rot eventually.
They do, and so there's those sort of practical resources. I think, like you say, the hands as well. So if people want to come along and get involved, donations are great. I mean, we're always looking. What's probably most helpful is because our needs change, just like the seasons change. And so, I know one of the things that we were looking for most recently was the loan of a chipper. So, because we're trying to kind of get ready for the new year and we don't have one and it would cost us money. But if someone can let us borrow one, then amazing. That would be great for us.
It'll be one of those things at the end of your garden that you bought because you thought it was a good idea and haven't used for a couple of years.
How many of those are there?
Well, there's probably hundreds.
Well, yeah, exactly. All the resources that are out there that could be shared for free would it's probably a bit
fantastic. And like I said, it's a beautiful little slice of the country out here. You've got the Portsmouth Museum and the Butterfly House that way. You've got people sweating away playing tennis over there, and you've got Canoe Lake, and it's marvellous. And Steve, what's fantastic, I know this, we're going to have many, many more conversations, because I know we don't have time to go through them now, but we will have to go through other projects that you're involved with around art, etc. There's a Hillsey Lido, there's many. We could be here for hours. So I've got one last question for you before I get my hands in there and I have a go myself, is if you could have a superpower, what would that be?
Well, if you've seen my social, on occasion I actually have transformed into Merlin. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have seen that,
So one of the things in the projects that we run is a little bit around that, and for Seekers Create, who I also sort of am a director for, I've been Merlin. And so if I could have a superpower, it would be magic. Real magic. Where I could do all of the powers just through knowledge.
Well, that's the thing with magic, you could do anything.
Exactly.
You've got everything, right?
So yeah.
I'm going to have to ban that superpower from now on, because that is everything. Well, Steve, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being on Southsea Matters. Now, Southsea Matters coming up soon. I had a chat with a lovely lady called called Nusha, who does Southsea Eyes, but also works with the Veterans Association. We've got Lauren from St Margaret's Pantry, we're chatting to her, and also Mike from Lifehouse, who gives hot food out to people that are needed. Thanks for tuning in. Please do give me ideas of people that you would like interviewed, and I'll pop along with my camera and my tripod and have a wee chat. Thank you so much, and goodbye.